Today I'm going to be breaking down the first gameplay trailer for Secret of the Mimic, along with some predictions I have of what I think will be in the game. The origin of Sun and Moon. I'll be mentioning the Tiger Rock short story from Book 7 of the Pizzaplex Tales a lot, because I think there are some connections Scott and Stillwell are trying to tell us. The trailer starts off with the van teased in the Help Wanted 2 update arriving at the game's main destination, the warehouse. It drives over one of the biggest potholes I have ever seen, most likely to show us that the warehouse is located in a shady, rundown, lifeless part of town. Easier to do sketchy stuff at. One of the Fazbear contractors, Edwin Murray, has gone missing, abandoning the technology he was developing for the company at the warehouse. Your job? Retrieve the technology he was developing for them. Edwin is first mentioned in the Tales from the Pizzaplex Book 5, and is the very man to create the Mimic in Book 6. We then get our first glimpses of inside the warehouse, which is full of different animal costumes and cutouts. When I look at one of the first costumes on the left, I immediately think of a character named Peter. In the story Tiger Rock, when the main character Kai is still trapped in the Pizzaplex's VR world, his sister places 5 plushies in his room saying they will take care of him. Peter the black penguin, Marge the gray mouse, Bubby the white teddy bear, Frucas the red fox, and Slowpoke the tan sloth. Keep these critters in mind if we see them in the game. We then see a generator being used that's similar to the generators used in Security Breach. You then enter an office that's very reminiscent of the office in the very first FNAF game, just retro. The clock also displays 12, just like the start of your shift in the series. We then see the camera panning to the left, showing some sort of the mascot costumes that the Mimic is most likely going to use. We see the elephant that was first shown in Ruin, who I think is Elliot the elephant, that is also mentioned in the Tiger Rock short story. Kai, the main character's little sister's favorite plush, was an elephant named Elliot. At least it wasn't a tiger, Kai says to himself. The next costume I think is supposed to be Peter the penguin mentioned in Tiger Rock. Yes, penguins don't have teeth, but neither do chickens when we see this creepy mismatch used before with Chica. We then get our first look at Tiger Rock, who most likely will be a major character in the game. Jackie just looks terrifying. Same with who I am dubbing Elliot the elephant. It all feels like the early FNAF games with emphasis on horror again. This part right here though. Pause and look at Jackie's hands when she's coming out of the vent. They are very, very similar to Sun and Moon's hands. It's been a common theory that Sun and Moon are much older than most of the other characters in the Pizzaplex. We also get these characters a lot in Help Wanted 2, especially in locations that seem to be themed around the Fall Fest that we want to know more about. My theory is that they were originally made by Edwin Murray, and we will see some sort of origin story about Sun and Moon in Secret of the Mimic. We have a new mushroom character that we have pretty much nothing on. There is a single mention of a mushroom costume the Mimic is wearing in the Mimic short story, but other than that, nothing. The next scene shows a room with some sort of device. The first thing that popped in my head was the room in Security Breach below the Pizzaplex where you upgrade Freddy and how similar the housing of both devices is. This could be the early design for this type of casing that was adapted and used by Fazbears. Next, we see the gloved hand of our main protagonist. I think this was intentional by Stillwell, having them wear gloves so he wouldn't immediately start making connections and stories to fill in the blanks. I'm sure connections to Cassie or Napton could easily have been started. Next is our new bot friend, who seems to be in an office that was in the PAX West demo. If you look in the background, there's a framed picture that looks a lot like the Fall Fest poster we saw in Help Wanted 2. The very festival many of us believed this game was going to be located at. Who knows, maybe we still end up there at one point in the game. Will we finally see how and why the Fall Fest ended in flames? The part when we get outside with the snow really reminds me of the Help Wanted ending, when you are able to exit a door to the outside world where you can see the Pizzaplex being built off in the distance. And what? It's snowing? Could this be Stillwool trying to tell us that they are in the same location? They could have picked any weather happening at these two sections, but they are both snowy. Tiger Rock is shown yet again, which I take as he's going to be a very important character. A tiger plush was the favorite of the son of Edward Murray, the very character the Mimic was created for. I believe and I hear other people theorizing that Tiger Rock could be the costume that the Mimic could feel the most connected to. Surprise! Look who's back! Our helping friend! Except now is referred to as Helper instead of Helpee. This terminal is version 0.0, making it the very first version. This is truly an origin story we were waiting for. We got the new character Dolly the Nurse, who's referred to as Carnival Nurse. In the next shot, could this gator in the background really be the origin of Monty? He is very, very similar to the Monty in Ruin when you are riding on his origin story ride, and you see young Monty with the banjo. Monty could just be a modernized version of this character. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.